You look great. Have you considered a bow, though?
That's it? That's the
Last
episode? That was just a bunch of cheap.
epic anime fight scenes.
What a rip!
Murder drones.
Betrayed us!
Hey, it's me, Narrative, and the last episode of Murder Drones was flawed. But before we get into my thoughts of the episode, let's kick things off with a bit of a recap. So this episode begins with me questioning this teacher drone's credentials and a massive dose of foreshadowing. Things start to get interesting as the planet gets blown up thanks to the Solver. Although based on the episode, it does feel like I overestimated the effects of what the Solver did in the previous episode, as I thought that she just effectively blew the entire planet up, but not really. It's still an impressive amount of damage, but it's not complete annihilation like I initially suspected. The episode then picks up where the cliffhanger left us, with Uzi floating in space. We get this adorable interaction with her and her mom. It's sweet considering the last time that they spoke, it ended with Uzi accidentally yeeting her mom into the void. Seriously though, I love that even without vocal dialogue, their personalities shine through in the void. The moment doesn't last as a spaceship crashes into Uzi with the one and only bestest pilot you could ask for, N. Now where did N get this spaceship from? It's hinted that he stole it from J with this cute IOU note he left her. I honestly would have wanted the episode to have shown us how he got the spaceship in the first place, and how he had to handle the fact that Uzi could have died in the last episode, but I guess we're speedrunning this. The Solver then ruins the two's reunion as it asks them to stop, then destroys the spaceship, causing the two drones to crash down into the atmosphere of Copper 9. A part of me is questioning how these two are surviving this, considering the fact that these two have had notable heating problems in the past. But the shipper in me is going, yeah, baby! That's what we've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Before that whole thing, we're, like, dating, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just because I can't always read.
Yeah?
I'm just a big fan of how this shot was done. They're literally falling for each other. True cinema moment. Pivoting away from that for a second, the episode turns its attention to Jay, whose allegiances have been revealed. It turns out that Jay likely knew who they were working for from the very beginning. They're here to do one thing, and that's to finish the job off. Speaking of finishing the job, it looks like those Dinobots didn't do a very good job at finishing V off, huh? Yeah, everyone knew this was coming, and these text messages between Lizzie and V were hilarious. But I have no clue what V expected these buffoons to accomplish on their own. Plus, we have no clue how V got out of that precarious situation in episode 6. It looks like she trained the alpha of the sentries, but again, it feels a bit undercooked and way too sudden of a reveal. In contrast to this, the reveal that even V was part of the deal with the Solver was really well done. All of the murder drones were victim to this weird eldritch abomination that came to view them as either some sort of messed up family or a source of amusement. From here on in, it's non-stop action, with V and J having one of the best duels in the show and having V say the magic words. The fight is interrupted by a pair of shooting stars as Uzi throws a black hole straight into the large crevice of the planet. And now the real star of the show is here, the Solver in the flesh.
Dropped this, silly. Hello, Uzi.
Hi, N.
Literally with the Syntesa body. She makes her entrance by treating Uzi's attack like absolutely nothing. Might I just say the animators really showed their stuff with this character. The way she moves, the way she fights is pretty cool all things considered. Also, these brief moments of conversation where more of her personality shines through is just mwah, chef's kiss. Any moment involving the solver is just the best, save for one that I'll talk about near the end. The tides turn for the worse as the solver just keeps going for the head, or in this case, the heart. This thing is brutal, going for killing blows that the heroes just barely make it out of, and it does its best to dismantle the biggest threat to its power by trying to take over Uzi's body. It also makes use of the holographic capabilities on a much more personal scale in comparison to the last time that we saw it used this much, which was in episode 2-ish.
V, stop!
Job, and I leave you and N alone. Right, V?
Do our jobs, and that thing leaves us alone.
This line from the solver completely recontextualizes what V says in episode 4. It's a nice callback. V's fears were completely justified since there is no escape for them, even in death. Too bad death is completely negated by one thing. Doors!
God fucked it.
Yeah, God, doorman!
Hands off! No one traumatizes these weirdly hot robots but me!
Also by Uzi confirmed? Woo! Let's go! Yeah, this little moment between Uzi and V was kind of sweet, considering the last thing that Uzi heard V say to her was,
Uzi, I trust you.
but we don't have time to dwell on that. It's time for the anime fight we've been waiting for the whole series. That's right, it all comes down to this. AJ Dispirito hits it out of the park again with another vocal track titled Bite Me. Can't wait to have this on a loop. It's such a bop and it's NightCore, so you know the 2000s nostalgia is going nuts in my head. The action choreography here is fantastic, with the solver making use of all of the abilities we've seen of them throughout the show, teleportation, sword skills, and a few illusions for good measure.
Wrong team.
No more tricks.
However, sometimes certain moves can be hard to see since the scene takes place in the snowier areas of the planet. It's quite good if you take into consideration how the solver tends to utilize visual trickery, although it makes seeing the action a bit difficult to follow at times since everyone is going at 100 miles per hour. The times where the action chooses to slow down though are epic, and in some cases just provide some comedy and levity to the intense fight for the planet. At the end, Uzi manages to one-up the solver by predicting its attack and destroying its host's heart. The solver tries to cling on to one last-ditch effort by unleashing its own core against Uzi. Having no other options, Uzi decides to bite it. I mean, to be fair, the solution was right in front of our faces. And so the planet was saved and the hero's journey is complete. It's like poetry, it rhymes. We end where we begin with a class presentation. I'm glad that Khan and Nori got together again, but for crying out loud, just give her a body. Or is Khan just into that kind of thing?
You don't know me and I hate you!
Kinda hot?
This was a fun look back from where we started. The difference that 3 years makes. Where does the time go? N and Uzi are now a thing, and learns how to draw manga. V and Lizzie might be dating, who knows? Although it does seem to me that V has some sort of lingering towards N with the look that she gives him here. Also, Doll might be attending the class, that's neat. But most importantly of all, Uzi can now do this. And that was Murder Drones. I'm going to be completely honest with you now. This episode was a bit disappointing. Don't get me wrong, it has the components for a solid series finale. Don't believe me? Alright, here's an example of a show that did almost the exact same thing. Gravity Falls. Epic fight against an eldritch nightmare being? Check. Musical cue for the fight? Check. Unexpected outcome for the hero of the story? Check. But the difference between the two is simply the fact that Gravity Falls just had more time to build up to it. And I know, it's an unfair comparison since Murder Drones is an indie show, but the limitation of 8 episodes really shows. It's just that the show kind of ended in a way that didn't satisfy everybody because there were still some mysteries and questions left unanswered even in the end. Like, who was Sin? Were Sin and the Solver one and the same? And if they weren't, does it really matter? It's so easy to confuse the two since the first time we meet Sin, she was already fully infected by the Solver. How did V get out of the cabin fever labs? And then the show kind of left us with the biggest question of all. What did Uzi do to herself? If you want some sort of comfort to the ending, I'm pretty sure that N's got this handled once he and Uzi talk about it. They've got some experience with this too. Since if you recall in episode 5, Uzi already became a series of CCTV tentacle things. Were they foreshadowing this? Real cute. Still though, any romantic moments will be 100 times more awkward with free people at the wheel. Yes, free. There might be a chance that Doll came along for the ride with the Solver program since she was assimilated back in episode 7. Furthermore, there's this weird silhouetted figure in the credits that has red optics and a similar shape to Doll herself. But this is pure speculation, and unless we get confirmation, this is probably just a headcanon for now. Can you imagine how odd this moment in the credits and other potentially intimate moments between Uzi and N will be if there were 3 people in Uzi's head right now? Murder drones, more like freaky drones, am I right?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
All these things wouldn't be too much of a problem if there was a second season. But there isn't, or at least there won't be one until some time has passed. Again, Glitch has said in the comments of episode 8 that this isn't the last time we've seen these characters. Plus, there have been rumors of a potential comic series, and that's kind of exciting. Truth be told, I'm hoping for some shorts akin to a chibi anime series involving the models they showed for Glitch In. In addition to this, I think that the episode's overall pacing was a bit too fast, or more likely the episode length was just a tiny bit too short. I just would have loved to have seen more characters interact for longer periods. Like, the most we get from Khan and Nori was this hilarious but very brief interaction. They definitely could have used more time together. I do think that by considering episodes 7 and 8 as a massive 2-parter finale kind of fixes this, but this proves my point that episode 8 on its own feels lacking. It has the spectacle of an excellent series finale, but is a bit short on its emotional payoffs with only a handful of moments that really stick. Do I think that the finale ruins Murder Drones as a whole? Not really. I mean, compare the pilot episode to where we are now. You can tell that everyone on the team was just trying to do the best that they could with the time that they had left. And even if they couldn't quite stick the landing, this show has left an impact not just on its fans, but on indie animation as a whole. To Glitch Productions, to Liam Vickers, and to everyone involved in the show, thank you for taking us on this crazy journey of inciting incidents and happy accidents. But hey, what did you think of this episode? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.